Kasia, hello. Good morning, good afternoon.
Hello. Yeah, a great afternoon as well. Yeah.
Good afternoon. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm super excited because of our talk. So waiting for the follow up and having I think very interesting conversation.
Me too, absolutely. Although I need to tell you that when I'm looking at the Żabka logo, it makes me immediately hungry. But I will try to control my natural instincts and focus purely on conversation, which is quite unique.
So I keep my finger crossed.
Thank you. I need that. Kasia, we only have 10 minutes for such a broad topic and such a deep topic, microaggressions. And I need to be honest with you. When I think microaggressions, I'm thinking micro problems, and I'm also thinking micro interventions. I may be wrong, I may be right. This is the stage to correct me if that's the case. But I think it's valid that we actually start this conversation with building an understanding on what microaggressions are. You can use me as a tester, and in fact, I'm inviting you to try off some of microaggressive behavior towards me. Would that be a good start for you? Just to show some examples, display some examples.
Okay, so I think that for a person who works with microaggressions not to appear, it's quite difficult to make it in practice. But I will try and take it as a challenge. But maybe before that, let's start from the definition. I really like when we compare microaggression with mosquito bite, because I think that everyone has this experience to be bitten by the mosquitoes. And the first thing is hello, this is very small creature. It cannot be such harmful for me. But all of us know that after this bitten, there appears this stitchy ash, and we have it like day 2, 3, or even longer. So microaggression is quite similar, like micro something, micro behavior, micro communication, verbal or non-verbal. And when we start to continue thinking about the mosquito, we know that sometimes it's more harmful because we can be bitten more than just once, or then can appear more than one mosquito, and it becomes to be more and more difficult. So microaggressions are very similar. These are everyday behaviors which are very subtle. Sometimes they are jokes, sometimes they are compliment. I think that we have many people who heard you lose your weight. And at the first, our first thought is, it sounds very nice, but we need to remember that we don't know the background of someone's situation losing weight. Wait, maybe it's caused by some mental issue, and for someone it's really, really difficult. So it has many faces, like I said, jokes, compliments, but sometimes they are directed in proper way, and it's sexist, it's homophobic, or somehow it's racist. And you provoked me, and I could say, you are blonde. Many jokes about blondes.
Absolutely.
And I know them as well. So I don't think that our conversation might be very deep, but don't take it too seriously. And yeah, I think this is something very common that we can hear. And what is really interesting, because it's so often, it's something that we can meet from every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, every day that we spend at work, that sometimes we think it's normal. I meet it so often that I don't pay so much attention.
Yes, so the risk would be to pretty much getting used to it. It's so subtle, it's so tiny, and it's like you say, if it's frequent, we tend to think about it as a norm. It's just part of the daily conversation, part of the daily reality. So we just tend to accept it, which is a high risk. High risk for the health or healthy dynamics of the team. Would you agree?
Yeah, I fully agree, especially when we take into account our mental health. Because when we meet with microaggressions very often, in our brain, the same center which is responsible for physical pain starts to work. So
Mhm.
let's imagine I am the person who experience very often microaggressions. So it means that my everyday work is everyday work with headache. So how can I be engaged, efficient? How can I feel like valued member of the team? How I
Mhm.
can develop myself a sense of belonging? It's
Mhm.
super difficult.
Mhm.
And you said at the beginning that micro means like almost nothing, and
Mhm.
micro means that we don't have to take a big effort. So the first part is not very real, and I think that we can agree. But the second one, it's more familiar because we can react in a very simple, quick way to stop or just to raise our hand and say, you know what, that kind of behavior is not okay
Okay.
because it makes me feel uncomfortable.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So in that sense, like standing for yourself and communicating certain level of discomfort or offense would be an example of a tactic, right? Or of a good strategy to either reduce or to eliminate microaggressions. Is it actually good news for managers? I'm thinking, evidently these microaggressive behaviors are part of the, hopefully not, but the reality is they are part of the like daily life of a team. They are so subtle that they are difficult to be seen. They are sometimes difficult to be stated. Yet a manager is still there to support their team, right? Meaning some kind of intervention would be needed to kind of eliminate the microaggression. So what would your advice be, Kasia, to managers or to a manager who's trying to, who's confronted with that, in fact? Some good strategies.
From my perspective, the best strategy is to react, to name the concrete behavior, and this is very critical behavior, because there is no one who is able to describe the whole person, but the impact where we can have is in terms of behavior, and that's the first thing. But of course, there are some concrete strategies that we can use, and the best example are those who were launched by Mary Rowe. Mary Rowe is absolutely fantastic person. She's an American teacher, psychologist, and therapist and a trainer. And she observed that kind of behavior between their students, between their pupil, and created 6 strategies to react. And of course, they were adopted in the business environment. So the first one is that we underline someone's positive intention, because it works with this compliment. We really want to say something nice to other person. We don't want to hurt this person,
So the
but the
intention
result
is good. The
might be
intention is good.
different. Yeah, the intention is good, but intention and impact, these are two separate things. So we can say to that person, thank you very much that you noticed my change, but I think that in professional environment, we should be much more focused on business. That's all. The second one, and the second strategy is that one which I use in 95% of situation. Maybe I will have time to explain why in 95% of situation, not 100. And every time when I meet with microaggressions, I ask the same question. What do you mean? What do you mean when you say or behave in that way? Because I don't know. I try to have no assumption. So I create the space to explain. And sometimes people just say because they have no time, things happen very fast, or sometimes they have some stereotypes and prejudices, and we can explore that. The third is to redirect. It's very useful when we have, difficult and complicated situation that we are not able to discuss. So we can say, you know what, I'm not ready to discuss about it. Let's go to the point. Let's go to the business. The third is about underlying that some things are universal. Like, I think that many mothers and employees at the same time, they hear, you know what, every time when we have our daily staff meeting, you are late. Mothers, they cannot manage, like, all this kids stuff, kindergarten and so on. And we can say, you know what? I know that parents have some difficulties with traffic jams in the morning. So it has nothing to do with me being a mother and being a woman. Or we can say something different, but quite close. We can say, you know what? I was late today, but 6, 7, 8 times I was on time. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is just exception. And the last one we can say stop, or in Polish, ouch. And each of the strategy, line manager, supervisor, director, every person that is responsible for other people can use, and can use every person who hears a microaggressive comment in terms of her or himself.
Okay, very interesting. And I really feel that we're talking microaggressions, but this is such a macro topic. And since it's so strongly linked with communication, it's pretty much purely communication, backed up with some experience, some background, and some assumptions. It makes it like super macro. I'm also conscious of time, Kasia. We're already 1 minute behind, but I don't want to leave our audience with your own universal, individual, or we can even call it a magic tip that can be applied if you want to do better at this area. What would you say as a magic tip?
As I said, I always recommend to react. But I mentioned that for myself, I react in 95% of situation, and there is 5% when I don't have reaction, because I am just a human being. So sometimes I am such surprised, or sometimes I just have bad day, that there is no space for reaction. And it means that this reaction can come later on. We can react in this particular concrete time, but we can go back to this person and discuss this situation. So I think it's very important to give yourself this permission that sometimes I am not ready, not such empowered, self-confident to give this feedback, because in fact it's some kind of the feedback in this concrete moment, but I have this space to do it later on. And I think this is, and then let's call it my golden rule that I would like to share.
Okay, beautiful. So the golden rule is react, and that's what we're leaving our audience with. And we're finishing on a positive note as well. So thank you so much, Kasia, and looking forward to our further conversations. Thank you for this educational piece, hugely universal to the audience, hopefully. So thank you so much again.
Thank you.